Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this session. And I must things, okay. So it's going to be a very interactive, participative, and activity oriented, and it's more technical. I'm sure there will be a lot of takeaway in today's session as well. All right. So what we are doing for this session is, it's all about how do you establish external equity, and how do you do some in fact, I recall somebody had this expectation: how do we do market pricing, how do we do a salary survey, how do we collect data, how do we then collate and interpret and analyze that data, okay. And then compare ratio, I think I recall very very distinctly Sagar mentioning about compare ratios, what are they, and we will also look at certain rules like the green circle and the red circle. What are these and what do they mean for the compensation? Okay. Having said that, we will also be just touching upon um, Hayes method of point plan, which very briefly, because it is actually a point plan method. And if any of you want to know more about it, there's so much of material. And if yet, it's difficult to understand, then you can always reach out to me and I will help you in it. Okay. All right. Yeah. Mm, to begin with, hey, you know, a lot of you must have heard about the Hay Group, which essentially does the job evaluation. In fact, they do a lot of job evaluation in the Middle East, because in Middle East, most of the manufacturing organizations and other retail and construction, they go by the job evaluation done by the Hay Group. Now, this Hayes method of point plan is exactly what we did in the last session, point plan method. But how does it differ? A, it was developed by Edward Hay in 1950. That was the time when they recognized, and what was that era? Industrial era. Most of them were, manufacturing organization. Unlike today's service oriented organizations, they were all manufacturing organization. So he developed this method at that point of time, to ensure that in the way we paid, compensated jobs, the way we evaluated jobs, whether it is blue collar technical jobs, there should be some kind of a transparency in the way they had actually compensated the job. So he actually developed this Hayes method, and the Hay method of point plan is exactly the one you have learned in my previous session. Now, what does it have? Now, where does it differ? Now, when we did a point plan, I said we have to determine, identify compensable factors, right? It could be education, it could be whichever makes a difference, in terms of intensity at a lower level and in terms of complexities at a higher level, effort, responsibility. So you have to determine based on the in the context and based on the nature and based on the industry, your organization. But here the compensable factors are already identified. It is a proprietary tool. So you cannot change anything. You have to actually ask them to come and do it. So it is a proprietary tool. So the compensable factors are fixed. So how many compensable factors? It has essentially 11 compensable. That is three main compensable factors. Now, what are they? You would say, hey, but three and they are able to do it. Now, let me just tell you the interesting fact about this. Hey, now uh, know-how, problem solving, and accountability. These are the main compensable factors. Okay. Now, each of this compensable factor has again sub compensable factors. That is, know-how has technical know-how. That means what kind of technical qualification, education, etc., is required. Say, for example, in a manufacturing organization, there's a production engineer, the production department. So, what are some of those technical qualification? Then, managerial know-how. What is the kind of an education, expertise, years of experience, etc., it needs in the managerial to organize, develop, plan. Human relations, that is the people oriented side. Now, in problem solving, you have two sub-compensable factors. That is, what kind of a, you know, thinking environment. Does this job need a lot of thinking, or is it has instruction led at a lower job? Just think of what kind of intensity of problem solving it will have. It will have a very low level of problem solving, in the sense that maybe you need to be supervised. You just have to go with all the instructions. But as you keep going up and up, the the challenge in the job is much more complex. What is the kind of an analytical challenge? So these are the two sub-compensable factors. Then accountability is the impact, the freedom to act. At a lower level, maybe you have to just go by what the job says. At a very higher level, say for example at a CXO level, so you have a lot of freedom to act. At the same time, the huge impact, and in the scale and size, the magnitude. So these are the sub-compensable factors for these three. Now, mind you, there is a pre-prepared what template which comes with the points. In the point plan which you have done in the last session, you had to populate a plan, you had to give weightages, you had to make it. But here what happens, you get it, it's like this, it's all given. Okay, all that you need to do is what happens here. Typically, the consultant who is from a hey, he comes, how it, they give you a questionnaire which has a lot of rigor, and it takes into consideration the entire job description, because they do a lot of job analysis through that questionnaire, and it takes into consideration everything in terms of all this what we talked about, in terms of what the know-how, in terms of the problem solving, in terms of the accountability, all those dimensions. And then what happens, all that you need to do is just assign the value. Like for example, for a particular position here, the total point value for a position has been calculated as 466. So you have such point plans for know-how, for problem solving, and this is for, I think, accountability. Yeah. All that you need to do is just identify where it is, and then look at the point value and put it there. If you want more information, or if you really want to understand how do you do this entire thing, then definitely you can reach out. I can probably guide you sometime. Maybe if there are 3 or 4 people, we can definitely do a small session and we can do it. Okay. All right. And the rest follows. So what happens once you do that, then what happens in a point plan method? Like in the last session, what did we do? Can anybody recall? What did we do?
Pay ranges on that.
So what did we do essentially? We did the point plan method to what? To evaluate. That was one method of job evaluation, to establish what? The point values. By establishing the point values, we could actually determine the relative worth of all the jobs. So we know exactly which job is higher, which job is lower. Now what we needed to do, which we'll be doing now, get the market data. Right. So now we have established internal equity. Now we are getting the market data to know our competitiveness. And then we did a regression to get to know pay line. Every point on that pay line, will actually reflect certain job points, and the corresponding will give you the salary to be paid. You will be doing that exercise so that you will be able to. Now, the most important thing today we'll be doing is, after learning the what is it, market survey, analyzing and interpreting data, how do we design pay structure? Or you have a structure, do you think it is actually suitable, or is it working for you? So we will look at, because it is our purpose is not just to establish some job worth and can keep it, then get the salary data, but then all these two pieces, how do we get them together, and how do we design a pay structure? What are the elements of pay structure? That's the major task of today's, and you would be doing an activity on that. Okay. Yeah. So this is very simple. Haste method, as I said, if you want, I would be willing to even give you a little more on that. But, as a special session. Now, we talked about internal equity, which is again, we said establishing worth of the jobs, which we did. Now we have to do what? External equity. When we say external equity, anybody, what is external equity? How do we establish what? Competitiveness. Vis-a-vis
Market
my job,
survey.
my data, absolutely. So how do we do that? We actually then look at, hey, what are the peer companies or jobs which are similar to my jobs in the organization? What are they paying? So when we talk about external equity, it's all about comparing myself with the market. Where are my people going? Am I
Competitive.
losing to, okay, competitors? Or from where do I get people? Or which are those organizations may not be in the same industry but using my skill sets? Okay, so we need to know what are they paying. That's how we'll be able to establish external equity and how competitive are we. Having said that, how do we go about? Neha was mentioning about it, what? That we can establish equity by obviously salary survey or market survey. That is getting data. Now it is so simple, simply put it as market data. But then there are certain challenges in it. Okay. Now, when we say market data, first of all, what kind of market data are we going to collect? For whom am I going to get it, collect? Then what do I do with that data? How do I collate the data and analyze the data and interpret the results? These are the three things. That is accuracy of data, all right? Um, Matching of my positions, benchmark positions, and how do I collate, analyze, and interpret the data? So when I talk about market survey, first and the foremost thing is I need not do a survey. I can also get market data, published surveys. That is, I can pay money and get data. I would recommend people, if you are doing like a dipstick study, okay, you can use the what I would say, the free. If you go to Google, Glassdoor, and there are several open sources of information you get, but definitely you must then take 2 3 sources to get accuracy, because accuracy of data is very important. And if you don't have accuracy of data, then probably then everything will go, you may not be able to position yourself, and the purpose is defeated. Okay. So when we talk about conducting the market surveys, so typically what do? We have to actually look at size of the organization. What is my business? What is my industry? What is my demography? Because unless and until I look at the similar organization, I cannot compare oranges to apples. Okay. That's first and the foremost thing. Then I have to identify what are those jobs which I really want to benchmark. When I say benchmark jobs, what do I mean by benchmarking jobs? Anybody? Yeah, very commonly used word,
Uh,
benchmarking practices. So
Equivalent
here I'm
job
saying,
in the market,
pardon?
equivalent job roles or jobs in the market with our competitors that lies within the competitor spectrum.
Exactly. Where is it? I think I've also put somewhere. Yeah, yeah. Those jobs which are similar, you know, as rightly put it by Priti, equivalent, which are with role, responsibility, descriptions, everything almost similar to those jobs in your organization. So if you are not able to find those jobs, then there might be 1 or 2% jobs which are unique to your organization, and there are ways where you can still then um, do the what is it called, market pricing later, which in fact I told mentioned about it in my last session. So you may not find all your positions in the market, best 50 to 60%, because every organization has certain 5 or maybe 10% unique positions which may not have commonality, which may be unique to your own organization. Okay. So this is very important. The first and the foremost thing is to identify your benchmark positions. Okay. And then typically take a list of at least 10 to 12 companies, competitors, peers of the same size, etc., so that you have a good set of market data. Three or four will be very, very few. So you need to actually take at least an ideal set would be 10 to 12 companies. You'll also have to take into consideration all this talent you're losing to or getting from, size of the business, revenue, headcount. You can't have a 100 crore company and you're looking at data of a 5,000 crore company. Do you think it will be realistic? Like, for example, somebody, a project manager who was actually managing only two projects, was getting a salary of 30 lakhs, but he was comparing himself to another project manager who was getting about 60 to 70 lakhs, but he was managing 15 to 20. The scale is so different. Okay. So you also need. Now, most important thing we always say, when you are matching jobs, you should not be looking at just titles. Don't go by the title. When we are doing job evaluation, the same thing I have mentioned about that, go through the job description, because the job description is going to give you an understanding, good understanding of the difficulty, the complexities, the accountability, responsibility, etc. So this is something which you need to take into consideration. Let me just show you one. Okay, I'll just put this. Also take into consideration the business cycle of the organization, typically, because the startups may have a different plan, the growth, the maturity, and the decline. So you also need to take into consideration the company size as well as the business cycle of the organization. Okay. Let me quickly show you something. Anybody who's seen compensation survey data? Can you see this? This is a very old report, but it simplifies your understanding of a compensation. Okay, it's so this is a report of a Watson and White. So typically, when I said what does it consist of? So this company, this Watson White have done a salary survey of how many 65 benchmarked positions. Okay, and from how many companies have they collected data? If you can see here, 25 employers. Okay. Now, say for example, Sanjay is a person who is wanting to look, who was wanting to look and see, hey, where do I stand vis-a-vis the market data? So just look at it first. So first of all this is, of course, in a report, you will have all this. Don't have to look at this. First, first we need to look at what are those benchmarked positions, right? He said how many? 65 benchmarked positions classified or listed under some job families or job functions. Job families and job functions are almost the same. Okay. Like, for example, consulting business unit is one job function here or job family, non consulting business, marketing and communication. If you can see, I think even sales is here. Um, Human resources is also here. Then you have administration, finance, quality, systems. So these are all benchmarked positions. So what does it mean? That these are those common positions which are there and for which the matching has been made. Okay. Job matches have been made. That is at least 80 to 85% job matches have been made. Now, first of all, when you are looking at the data, you need to check, for example, say you have a head marketing or a marketing director in your company. I think I will Preeti because they have she works for Parley, so they'll have head marketing director. Now, what is important for you to see before even you go and check the data? You have to check the job description of this one. Does it match? Because you have not done a customized survey. You are looking at a published survey data. So you need to check whether this job description matches with your job description. If it matches 80%, that is the thumb rule. When I say 80% match, what does it mean? That means your job description, roles and responsibilities, etc., should match with this job description at least 80%. Okay, little bit there will be outliers, 20% is okay. Right? Having said that, then what do? Look at who are the companies which have participated. Those 25 companies. Are they of similar size, scale, nature, etc.? Okay. Like, for example, this is typically of a technical IT company. Okay. Now, if Sanjay's company was a chip company, now chip company is different from a typical IT services company. Obviously, chip company will be paying much, much higher. So can I then say, hey, I'm going to compare here? No. So I will look at all these participants, employers who have participated, and do I can I compare? Do they form my competitors and peer group? Okay, that's the next one. Once I've done that and I feel that yes, they are my peer group, then what do? I'm just giving you a, we will get to that. Okay. Now, what do? Yeah. So can you see here total guaranteed cash? Can you see that? Just give me a thumbs up because it's too small. Okay. So what will I do? I'll say, hey, A, total guaranteed cash. I have to check with the report. What are those components which have been taken into account under total guaranteed cash? Because if they have taken X number of components, but I do not actually take some of those components, then there'll be again what? Variation, differential. So ensure that when you say total guaranteed cash, are the components or the elements of that total guaranteed cash similar to mine, same as mine, equal to mine? Okay, that's the first thing. Then what do you do? Can you see? Okay, that has been clarified. Then now the data from these 25 companies have been collected, collated, then analyzed. Now, when data is analyzed, typically, I don't know how many of you have seen the report, it is presented or communicated in this format. How? They will give you all the list of positions and then they will give you percentile format. What? 10th percentile, typically 25th percentile, 50th percentile, 75th percentile, and 90th percentile. Now, what is the meaning of percentile? Is there a difference between percentile and percentage? Anybody? Neha, you want to? Anybody? Sagar?
Ma'am, percentile means if we say that 25th percentile, that means there are 25 other positions or in that range of total population. There are 25 positions below the where we are mapped or where we are positioned.
Okay. So, the best of best people also sometimes they get so confused, percentile, percentage, and this is where I want to bring 100% clarity. And it is not at all a complex thing. Simple. When I say that Sagar got 80% in physics. It's an absolute thing. So what does it mean? Out of 100, he got 80%, right? Out of 100 he got 80% marks. Now, if I say Sagar went for a CAT exam and he got what? 85th percentile in CAT exam. What does it mean? Does it mean he got 85% marks? No. The respondents could be X number. Like here, the respondents or the data we looked at comparator data is 25, right? I think, yeah, 25 employers. Okay. So the data could be N number, right? But what did Sagar get? That means 25, 15% of people got, percentage of people got higher than Sagar, and 85% of people got lesser than Sagar. Is that clear? Is that clear? Sanjay, sure, we will do
Yeah.
that. You will get absolute clarity. Now, I've taken 25 companies' data. So, unless and until I make it into a percentile format, I will not be able to compare them. Now, all the 25 companies' data has been what analyzed and put into a percentile format, which you will be learning now how to do it also. Okay. So when I say for example, Preeti's company, she says, oh, my head of marketing job description matches with that 15 plus years of experience. Okay. So let me see where I am, in which percentile of the market I am. And say, for example, because this is an outdated one, for example, they are paying about 12 lakhs. Okay. They are paying 12 lakhs. So, where do you think, first of all, they are there? I have to, first of all, find out 12 lakhs. Where does it appear? Where does it appear? Here? Can you see my cursor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you say it is 12 lakhs, so what does it show? If you see the percentile, it is actually
I guess
10%.
10%.
percentile. That means out of those 25 companies' data, what is the 10th percentile? 95% of companies are paying higher than that. And so if I say, hey, no, I want to be at the 75th percentile, what will I do then? I will say, okay, so let me see 75th percentile. What are they paying? What is the market paying? Huh? The market is paying 16 lakhs. So I'll say, oh, that means because that she feels that that's a critical position. So I need to push that position, make a market correction, at least of the grade from 12 lakhs to 16 lakhs. Okay. For example, so we will actually learn how to compute these percentiles and how. Now, when I'm looking at market data, what does it mean? That means market data is always median data. Anybody who understands median? What is a median?
Is the
It is
50th percentile.
Median is a 50th percentile. So if you look at market data is always mostly 50th percentile. Now, having got that market data as 50th percentile, then if you want, you can say, hey, I want to pay more than the market, so I will push to 75th percentile. Or maybe I'll be on par with just the market median data, or maybe I want to be a little lesser than. So you have various positions to take, which typically is called as my pay policy. Okay, well, let us look at that. We'll again come back to this. First, we'll go through the. Okay. So when we talk about salary survey. Now we need to understand when we are getting market data, what is it going to be my pay policy? Pay policy is what? Do I want to lead? Do I want to lag? Or do I want to be a lead lag kind? Vis-a-vis the market. So how does it look? Say, for example, if this is what is this is the time and this is the money, okay? Market is here. The compensation is here. But the company is paying more than the market right now. So that means by the time market keeps raising, the company is at a lead position, right? So this is called lead. That means if I get a market data which I've done salary survey and I'm positioning myself at a lead, maybe I'll increase it by 10%, maybe I'll increase it by 20%. Now, what positions will I lead? Maybe critical positions I'm going to take a lead. All right. Now, what is this? This is the company. This is at the beginning of the year, but the market has moved, changed. But the company is still paying the same throughout the year. So it is lag because the market, if you see, it has already moved up, but the company is paying the same salaries. So it is lag. That means I'm paying lesser than the company. So this is a lag position. Okay. So typically, if you are in a lag position, especially for your critical positions, are you able to attract and retain people? You can't. It's okay typically when the supply is more and the demand is less. Let's say, for example, in an organization where HR is not critical, support function, mostly doing compliance, I don't mind taking people at a lesser salary, right? Or the administration people lesser salary. Okay. So it is again a strategy. Because if you want to lead, higher wage cost. Keep that in mind. It is not just because you want to take a lead or a lag position. And this is lead and lag. How do you think it's a lead and lag? Can you see very interestingly? Okay. If you see in the beginning, it was in the lead. But after that, what happened? The company was paying the same, but the market has moved up. So for some time it is in the lead, and then for some time it is in the lag. So you can also have a lead lag position. All right. Okay. So having said that,
Ma'am, I have a question.
yeah, please.
Ma'am, when we are looking into this data, whether it's a lead market or a lag market,
Yeah.
what is the time period that we ideally keep in mind?
What is the time
Because
period you
time is
ideally keep
also a
in mind?
factor, I believe.
I believe no, it's very important because when you collect market data, even that is very important. By the time you collect and it comes, say for example, you're collecting market data sometime in February. Okay. Market data. Now, when does your financial year start? Typically in
April.
India, it could be April to March, or some organizations have January to December, right? Some could have January to December,
True.
and
Yes.
most of the 80% will have from April to March. Now, I have collected data in February. That means I've collected data which is actually going to become a lag, right? Because the
Yes.
market would have changed again in April, but I'm getting data which is previous, which is old.
Yes.
Huh? So you have to ensure. So if you want to be current, then you can age your data by adding certain percentage, which we will be doing. That's called aging the data because
Okay.
that's very, very important. The time when you collected data and the time you're using your data, these are things which are very, very important. You've collected 6 months ago and then you're using the same data. Won't it become outdated unless and until you add aging factor?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm?
Okay.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I have
All right.
another question.
Sure,
If you
sure.
can please take the slide to that graph wherein you were showing that the company is paying higher as compared to the market.
Okay. Which one? This one?
The
No,
graph,
you
yes,
just tell me
yes.
whether it's lead or lag or lead lag.
It was lead, lead only.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So in this
Hmm.
case, ma'am, the company is paying in a, I mean, over the time period, the market level will reach where the company is paying. Now, what I wanted to
Absolutely.
understand, if in case we look at a very niche profile, let's say this is a particular niche profile for which we've done this survey, and we see there is a lead market wherein the company is at a lead position. Now,
At what point
if
of
in
time in
case,
the year you must have collected data?
agreed, um,
Just I mean, I'm not asking very precisely, just for the discussion, so that you will be able to
maybe
understand that.
beginning of a financial year around April, some a time period between
Beginning of
April
a
May,
okay, okay. Hmm.
and and
Again,
uh,
yeah,
and this is
tell
a
me.
niche profile that I'm talking
Hmm,
about.
hmm, hmm, hmm.
Now, my question is more on the softer aspects. Let's say
Okay,
to be able to match it with the market level. Of course, one of the
okay.
things was maybe the increment, etc. I could keep it a little limited. But
Hmm.
wouldn't actually this also arise in demoralizing the people who get affected by us doing this correction? How do we take
Now
care
there
of
are two
that
ways.
aspect?
So there are two ways of doing this. Okay. Are you actually so when we do pay structures, one is typically what a base structure. Huh? The other is you're actually going by position to position. That is pricing yourself or trying to create a pay structure as per the market. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, Intel. It does not believe in what internal. It goes purely by position to position because
Okay.
some positions are very very critical. Then there are something like supply and demand. Okay, so it cannot afford to take into consideration saying that just because all my positions are here and I have to actually be in parity with them. No, because they might actually miss out on very very critical positions. Like in your case, you said this position is very critical. That is, it's a strategic position. So what
Mm-hmm.
are you going to do? You will definitely then collect market data. Say for example, hypothetically, you have collected data sometime April, May, when it's the current, that is, increments have also been given. Because when you say market data, what is it? That is also dependent on which time of the year you are collecting data. If you're collecting in February, you will get past data. If you're collecting in, say, about May, you will get a current data after the increment cycle, performance cycle, and annual increment cycle has been done, right? Okay.
True.
So having said that, your question was only for critical positions. So obviously critical positions will have to take into consideration based on the strategic nature of your position, that yes, these 5% positions have to be aligned with the market.
Okay.
You cannot put them in the same pay structure. Like, for example, a CXO, a CFO, sometimes you don't want to put them in the same structure. You will go by what is the market actually paying, because they're only one positions, right? And they're very,
Mm-hmm.
very critical for you. Strategic positions. Say, for example, mm,
So, ma'am,
a supply,
this kind of a
Walmart.
scenario probably would very
Mm,
rarely exist for very
mm.
very I mean, I don't know, something that is absolutely probably brand new in the market in terms of a profile or a new skill that has just I don't think this would
I'll give you
probably be a very
examples. I will give
repetitive.
you examples. I'll give you examples. Say, for example, if you look at the Amazon's the organization primarily in the operational excellence kind of a value discipline, they have these um, we won't call procurement these days, but supply chain. They become very critical, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
you don't want to
Okay.
have somebody at an average 60% percentile or
Okay. Now that
70.
you've
You
given an
want
example,
top.
it's getting a little clear, ma'am.
Google, coders, R&D, depending on
Mm.
what is driving your organization. You because That is what is very strategic in nature. That will differentiate you from your competitors. So you definitely don't want somebody, you don't want to pay peanuts and get monkeys, right?
Yeah, true, true. Okay,
Uh,
yes,
so
ma'am.
you have
I think
to
I'm
you
getting
have
the
to
picture.
find out which are those critical positions.
Hmm.
Like sometimes, in organizations where HR compensation is very, very critical. They pay very high salaries.
Hmm.
For example, in a like these consulting firms, PwC, EY, etc. Okay, they
Yeah.
hire a lot of chartered accountants. We also hire in a finance department chartered accountants. But I wouldn't mind paying an average salary for a chartered accountant because I don't need that. I don't have that kind of a work as in compared to a chartered accountant who does work in PwC or EY. You getting me? You
Yes,
need a
ma'am.
very high level, high quality kind of a CI. So I don't mind going for an average guy. It is it's based on the requirement. Even if I had a best of the breed kinds, what am I going to do when the job itself does not entail you to do that work? Got it? Okay.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome. So I come to this. Okay. Now, first of all, let me go step by step. First of all, let me make you understand how do we do percentile. Then we'll do median. Okay, let me just go to the percentile format. Okay, all right. So I've collected data, 25 companies. For example, here, I'm a company, new startup, a software company, and I want to recruit software developer at an entry level. Okay. And I want to recruit these people at 90th percentile. Got it? What I want to do? I want to, because I'm a software developer company, product development company. So I want to take the best of people and I want to pay them at a 90th percentile. Now, here are a list of companies I have taken and I've got the market data. Similar companies. A is also A, B, C. I didn't write the names. So these are all those companies whose market data is here. Just like I showed you a report, market data is here per month, what they pay, and this is it. And have more, in fact, not the total guaranteed cash, but base salaries. All right, per month, what is the guaranteed salary? Now, how will I then? I want to pay 90th percentile. So, what is the amount should I pay? How will I do?
Min max.
Somebody said yes, ma'am. Who, Kaushal?
Yeah. So
Yes,
first,
Kaushal, tell me.
first we range it out, minimum to maximum. Then we will find out the 90th percentile. For example, I think the minimum amount is 14,000 rupees.
Yeah, yeah.
Highest is 34. Yes.
Right, 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 Kaushal. Good.
So 14 to
Good attempt.
34,
Huh, huh.
20.
Okay. So let me tell you. So
So,
Excel is
so
giving you an excellent method to do it. All
correct.
that you need to do is, huh? Go to formula. Now what will I do?
There's a
Insert function.
percentile format. Yeah.
Go to percentile. Then say, okay, array. What should I take?
The entire range, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what will I put here when I say K? I want
0.90.
9. I want 90th percentile.
Correct.
So I will say point
9. 0.9.
9. Excellent. Somebody said that. So how much is it?
Correct.
What is the amount? I should have
23,000.
actually wait.
Correct.
Let me actually let me just delete this. I will do it again so that I should have put it here. I'll put it here. Okay. Hmm.
I think, ma'am, below
Function.
that, I think you will have to click on E6. You're
Okay.
in,
Once I'll cancel this one
yeah.
second. Hmm. Yeah, I will do here those. Okay, so that it becomes easier. Insert function, percentile. Okay, and then array. Okay, and then so 0.9. Then okay. So what is the amount? 90th percentile?
400.
23,400. So likewise, say for example, if I want to know at the 75th percentile, what will I do?
I will change that number from 0.90
From
to
0.9 to
0.75.
0.75. And 50th will be
0.5.
0.5 and 0.25. There's also something called, percent rank. Percent rank will give you the, if you divide everything into what? Um, 0 to 1, it will give you what is the highest and what is the lowest. So you can also do that. Insert function. Percent rank. Okay. Array will be the same. Okay. So here X will be what? So you want to know, say for example, what is the percent rank of this? So you put C6. Then, okay. So that means this is 0.7.
169.
So let me see if I can drag. Which is the highest and which is the lowest? The one with the 1 is the
Highest.
highest. No, no, no.
No, I
we
think,
need
ma'am,
to
you will
select
have
the
to change
decimal
the
No, no,
right
point.
one.
there's been an
Yeah.
error, guys.
Error,
There's
yeah.
been an error. But now you know how to do it.
No,
There's been
I think, ma'am, you have taken that up. It has to be little.
Yeah, that's yeah. I missed that one, so it's absolutely.
That is one. And ma'am, second, again, you will have to freeze the range, because what is happening?
Hardware it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have an exercise sheet, all of you. Yeah. So I want you all to calculate the percentile. Now, these are these 10, I think 10 or 9 IT companies. Then their salaries for grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 are given here. This is market data for grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. Okay. Now, you have to calculate the 10th percentile, the 25th percentile, 50th, 75th, and 90th. And also the current actual pay versus market, which is the 50th percentile. And you have the current annual pay of that particular company. Here it is. All right. Now, what you need to do is, this is your market data. How will you now calculate what is the 10th, what is the 25th, what is the 50th? I want you all to do it as individually, not as a group. So at your desk, which is a very simple exercise, using the same percentile Excel tool, you can do this. Okay. And you will have to tell me whether the actual pay of this company is it higher or lower, okay, than the market. What would you recommend? What are your recommendations? Done?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of you can actually share your screen. Anybody, whoever wants to show me the work. Sanjay, show me. Huh?
Okay.
Let Sanjay show me. I want to see what he has done.
Let
It
me share the
helps.
screen. Yeah. So what I did, I'll just, because I did it in one formula. which will help you, using one formula for one
All
cell. How can you calculate the entire thing, remaining
entire
thing?
thing. True. Show it to
Okay.
others also. Yeah, one can do
Yeah.
that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So what I did is that for a Cepher side, what I did, I put all those percentiles at left hand side, so I can use the references of the percentile from this column. Okay, that is what first thing that I did. Here I came here and then
You
I
translated 10th percentile, 25th percentile, 50th. Individually, we do 0.1, 0.25. So you did all that.
yeah
That's right. Okay. Yeah. Just, to elaborate further. Okay.
yeah. So then I put the percentile formula over here. So,
Yes.
yeah. So
Yeah.
then I selected this range. Okay. So when I select this range, that is fine for this particular cell. But if you have to apply that formula for the remaining cells as well, then I will have to freeze that area, right?
Absolutely.
So if I have to freeze this for this column, then what I'll do, I will not freeze the columns over here. I will freeze only the rows so that I can apply
Right.
that formula for the remaining columns
For
and
the
rows
remaining
as well.
ones.
Yeah. So what I will do, I will just freeze only the row number basically. Yeah.
Right.
And then I'm giving the reference of this. And here I will not freeze the row number. I will freeze the column basically because I don't want to change the column range. Okay.
Right.
So I will get the 10th percentile from this range. Now what I will do, I'll just copy this formula, select the
Yeah.
range where I want that formula, and I'll just paste it. So if I
Right.
go to the next, so I can see that we'll just see that the range of this formula. See, this is the
Yeah.
range and this is the percentile that has been
And this is
selected.
the percentile. Yeah.
Yeah.
So at one go, you have everything.
Yes. So likewise, if I
Okay.
come here and see that this is the range that has been selected and this is the percentile cell for the
Percentile.
reference.
Right. I don't know about others. Have they understood? And if they have not, you can do it also by the most simplest way for
If
doing
you
it
don't
for,
freeze, ma'am, still it is possible. As in,
huh?
if you don't freeze and the
Huh?
formula you
Huh?
have put and you can drag because it is in similar, it's in linear way only. So there's no fixed cell to freeze it.
There are multiple
So
ways
there are a
that
Yeah,
couple
yeah,
of
I'm
ways
just
to
saying.
do it. Yeah. There are a couple of ways to do it. Absolutely. There's no one way, but definitely a very shortcut method to do it, immediately. Yeah. So what is your interpretation now? See,
So
ultimately, numbers don't, we need to interpret, right?
that's right.
So, if the current annual pay is, say, for example, 3,60,000 at grade 1 for 0 to 1 year
Yeah.
person, grade 1 person, okay? Now, what is your interpretation? Typically, what do you
Grade
do?
one.
We need to look at 50th percentile.
Yeah.
Typically, we need to look at 50th percentile because that is your market median and say,
Right.
hey, where are we vis-a-vis the market median? So obviously, the market median is 2,60,000 and we are way ahead. Now, one way of looking at is, hey, by what percentage am higher from the market median? Are you with me? What
Yeah.
I'm trying to say? That means the current actual pay, by what percentage is it higher than the market median? And at a 90th, so the company is paying at what? At what percentile is the company
138%.
at?
90th
Pardon?
percentile in
It's
this
at a 90th
90th percentile.
percentile. So therefore, obviously, that means they are getting the best of people and they are the topmost payers like Google or Microsoft. No?
Yeah.
Look at the second grade. At grade 2, what are they doing? 50th percentile, by what percentage is it higher?
So it is more than 90th percentile, man. So my 50th percentile is 4,09,000 rupees.
Yeah, it's much more.
And it is much
Absolutely.
more than the
Much more than.
market.
Absolutely. And the grade 3?
grade 3 also, it is much more higher than my percentile, because my 50th percentile is 5.8 lakhs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 50th is 5.80
Yeah.
and
90th is 7.30.
even your this one, the salary is 8 lakhs 20 and even the 90th is 7 lakhs 30. Okay, good job. I want to check from the other participants. Did all of you get the similar thing? Just give me in your chat if you can't uh, tell me, but at least in chat say yes. Who did not get? That's a better thing. Who did not get the similar values? Uh, Let me see. Everybody says yes, yes. Others? Let me see. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, great.
Ma'am, can you please explain the interpretation again?
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to give you realistic data, though this is this is not a very realistic data because this is we wanting to help you with how it can be. Now, X company is paying how much? 3,60,000 for a grade 1 person with an experience of 0 to 1 year. This is clear, Neha? Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know. Okay. Now, having said that, I have actually collected market data from all these companies. How many? 9 must be or 8 companies. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, I want to know where am I vis-a-vis this market? So, how can I actually interpret or make logical conclusions or interpretation only when I convert this into a percentile format, right? Otherwise, I
Yeah.
can't say, hey. So you have converted your market data into a percentile format, and now typically you want to look at what is the 50th percentile saying. 2,60,000, but I'm paying already 3,60,000. I'm paying much higher than the 50th percentile, that is the median of the market data. Are you with me, Neha? Huh?
Yes.
In fact, if you look at 90th percentile, I'm paying 38% more than what? The market median. Likewise, if you notice here also, much, much higher. And here also, if you see, it is much higher. Okay? Clear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to give you a very good 1 second. Yeah. Sanjay, can you
I
stop
can.
sharing?
Yeah,
Huh?
sure, ma'am. Sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
1 second. I'll give you a little more. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Just a small exercise. Can you see this? Can you see the data?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. So I want you all to quickly, can you want me to make it larger? Instead of writing employee, you just write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. Okay. These are 10 employees. And now this is the market data for a software developer. Okay. All right. Now, what you need to do is I want you to calculate quickly the 25th percentile, 50th percentile, 70th, 75th percentile, and 90th percentile. Okay. If you want, I can make this data a little bigger. Do you want me to make it? And don't write employee, just write 1, 2, 3, 4. That's good enough. If this is your market data, just like the report I showed you, what will be your 10th, 25th, 50th, 75th, and 90th? Just give me a thumbs up if you have understood it. Okay? Simple. Yeah. Done? Now, I want somebody else to show me. Maybe Kaushal or Neha. Neha, you want to take out her? Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Neha, you want? Huh? Okay, I'm
Yes, I
stopping
have
this.
calculated the percentiles.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, my screen has come up.
I can see. Yeah. Yeah. So I hope everyone, all of you have got the same at a 10th percentile. So let me see the market median, 50th percentile. That's called the market median. Okay. 72, 5, 72,500. And at a 75th percentile, 83,750. Okay. And so who has not got the same uh, market median and who has not got the same? Anyone who differs from these values? Nobody.
It's same, ma'am. It's same.
Everybody yes? Huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody yes?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay. Okay. Can you stop sharing? Thank you so
Yes,
much, Neha.
yeah.
Thank you. Great. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Let me just see. Okay. All right, guys. So, can anybody tell me when you have to now after doing the job evaluation, having got the point values, then you get the market data. So, what are the 2 or 3 critical things when you get market data? You know now exactly how to go about, right? You identify which are your benchmark positions, whether they are 10 positions, 15 positions. Get the market data, likewise, what I said, whether it is total guaranteed cash or just cost to company or just base salaries, or you want to get everything. Of course, when you do a salary survey, you will collect all the other data as well, benefits, etc. Okay. So you will be collecting all this other data as well. Where is it? You will collect base salary, variable, total cash, long term. Okay. So once you do that, then you can analyze, collect, collate, analyze, and then convert it into a what? Percentile format. Then you know exactly how you can actually then look at where are you positioned vis-a-vis the market data. So first and the foremost is look at a 50th percentile. And then depending on your own compensation policy, because not all positions you want to have lead 75th, 90th. You may have some at 50th, you may have some at 50th, 75th, some at 90, depending on your own compensation philosophy and pay policy. You could do that. Okay. Now, having said that, now what you need to understand is something about how do you create a design a pay structure. Very important. You have learned market, you have learned how to create a pay structure. But before you create a pay structure, you need to know certain things. Okay. What is a median? What is min? What is salary range, etc. I'm sure most of you would be knowing. So when we talk about, so when we are, first of all, what do you understand by pay structure when I say pay structure? Anybody? Everybody in your organization, you have a pay structure, right? What are the elements of a pay structure?
So fixed and variable, including all the components.
Okay.
Can that
Okay.
be considered as a structure, like your pay mix kind of a thing?
Okay. Anybody else?
So it also comprises of the all the statutory deductions as well.
Hmm?
Uh, Ma'am,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Huh.
there was a little disconnection at my end. Can I request you to
Mhm.
please repeat the topic?
1 second.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'll show that. Okay. So typically when I say a pay structure, every organization, whether it's a startup or any organization, will have a pay structure. I actually will show you that pay structure. I don't want to close this now. I'll show you. So just think of your organization. You have what? Number of grades. Anybody, you'll have grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. If I ask Sagar, um, what is your, so first thing I'll say, at what grade are you, or at what pay band are you, right? You may say I'm at L1 or L2 or M1, M2. So you will have maybe 5 salary bands or 6 salary bands or 8. So you have what? Grades. Then for the grades, what do you have? For every grade,
Range.
you have
Pay
a
range.
salary range. What is a salary range? That means you have a min, when range itself means 2 points, minimum and maximum. So at every grade, you have a minimum and a maximum. So if I ask Preeti at what grade are you? So she will say I'm the L7 or M2. The grade starts from minimum salary and I'm at that. So she will be able to tell you exactly where she is. So why should we have a structure? My basic question is, why should organization have structures? What happens if I don't have a structure? I'll pay Preeti X amount, I'll pay Neha Y amount, I'll pay somebody A amount. But so what's the point of what are the
At similar
let's
grade, the pay points or the pay ranges should be similar. Standardization and parity, equity, you could say.
so a structure helps the employee as to, hey, at what, where am I in the pay structure and how will I be progressing? Right now in particular grade at a particular base salary, yes, in 2 years time I'll get a higher salary, and maybe after 5 years again I'll be getting promoted. So I know my career progression, and along with career progression I know how my salary is also going to progress, right? It helps you. For the employer, what happens? It helps you to compensate people uh, in terms of what? Equity, in terms. So I'm able to compensate people equitably. That is for similar kind of jobs. So similar salaries, for higher jobs, higher salaries. So therefore, it's very important to have a structure. In fact, we will be working on a structure, how to devise a structure. So let us understand the basic units of that structure. Now, you know that there are grades. Like, for example, how job evaluation points, you know exactly how they also can be converted into job grades by bundling them or by creating cutoffs. Can you see here? Right? 100 to 499 points. So for every 100 points, I can create a grade depending on the kind of jobs which are falling in that 100 to 100. And now, what is a midpoint? You know that when there is a salary range, the midpoint, like for example here, so let me give you more data. Say for example, there's a salary range of 45,000 and 60,000 is the maximum. What is the midpoint? 52,500. How did I arrive at this? There is a formula to it. How do I arrive at how do I calculate? All of you just try and calculate. The minimum salary is 50,000 and the maximum is 75,000. Can you calculate the midpoint? First, let us calculate the midpoint. Quick. Do you know the formula for midpoint?
Central value means mid value.
Yeah. So how will you
Median.
calculate that? So let me give you the formula.
Correct.
Maximum.
It's 1.2.
Yeah. Here is it. We just. How much is it?
6 lakhs.
52,500 is the midpoint. Did you get that? No, I'm asking you to calculate. Minimum is 45,000, maximum is 60,000. Just calculate the midpoint. Yeah. Did everybody get that? 52,500?
Yes.
How did you get that?
Maximum plus minimum divided by 2.
Absolutely. Everybody got that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when I talk about midpoint, there is also there is a width, the spread, what we call it as, very important to calculate the spread in when we are doing salary survey and when we are designing salary structures. So how do we calculate that? What is the spread? Spread is nothing but the width we talked about. So what would be the width of minimum salary 50,000 and maximum 75? You want I'll just put that. How do you calculate the spread? 1 second. Minute. Yeah. How do you calculate spread? Very simple. Maximum minus minimum salary divided by the minimum salary. And if you want a percentage, multiply it by 100. So that will give you the entire spread. So what is the spread for that figure, what we talked about? What is the spread for this one? Say, for example, 40,000 and 60,000. What would be the spread? Yeah, nobody is giving me the answer.
So I'm spread means 40,000 to
10,000?
60,000, no?
10 by 10,000 also?
The spread is
Spread is
25,000.
this one. What was the maximum? 60,000.
60,000 minus 40.
What was the
Yeah.
minimum?
40,000
40,000. So
divided by minimum.
divided by minimum 40,000. So how much is it? Multiplied by 100. So it is 50%. It is 50%. 50%. And if you want to actually calculate spread from, say, for example, sometimes what happens, you want to calculate a spread like this. Here, just let me show you that one. From the midpoint. Now you calculated spread from the entire minimum to maximum. But you can also calculate the width from midpoint to maximum, from the midpoint to minimum also. Okay. So then the formula for that is this one. This one. Okay. Maximum minus minimum. You only have to change it by midpoint. Then you will get and then again, you will get the range spread from the midpoint. All right. Okay. Please remember these because you're going to do now how to design a structure and you're going to do that. Okay.
Ma'am, also
Yeah.
since this range is there any ideal width
Yeah.
that one should be following?
You asked about that and I'm showing you that.
Okay.
Okay.
As in, I just wanted to understand, it should vary, or is there an ideal thing that probably it should be?
Yeah. So can you see this? For example, for lower levels, the width or the spread is typically small or less. Say, for example, at a grade 1, just 20, 30%. As you keep going up, the spread or the width keeps going up. Give me one good reason for it. Why? Because the jobs at a lower level they're less skilled. They don't need the tenuity, to become skilled. So you get easily promoted within a year or two. So therefore, if you keep a widespread, that means it will take a longer time for promotion. But whereas when you keep going up from a manager to senior manager, the level of competencies, knowledge, skill, everything is much more complex. So, therefore, as the job gets complex, then the spread also, because for them to stay in that grade is longer. So, unless and until you provide that, so the spread helps you to stay in that grade for longer time. Are you with me? So, have you seen this? You will get this PPT, please, so that you don't have to. Okay, these are some. This This answers your question. Lower levels 20 to 25%, 30 to 40, but at the highest level it can be 50% and above. Okay. All right. Now we are coming to I want you to do this. I'm going to open that, but you can come back and do. I know that 1 second, where is that? Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. You know what? Now, when you come back, you can take a small break for 10 minutes, but I want to brief you. Then, when you come back, I'll put you in groups. What is that you need to do for this? You have to design a salary structure. When I said design a salary structure, what does it mean? Now, here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 roles. Got it? You've done the internal equity job points. Here is the market data. So now what you need to do when you have to design a salary structure? Step one, tell me anybody. What will you do? Please
Plot,
tell me. Huh?
plot in the as in
You
the
have to do regression analysis. You have to do regression analysis, and what? You have to get a pay line so that you will create a pay line salary. Now, Sagar asked me last time, ma'am, what is the pay line salary? Pay line salary is the salary through regression. It is the 50th percentile, the midpoint 50th percentile, which has aligned with the market data. When you do a regression along with job points and market salary, it throws up your pay line salary, and that is your midpoint. Okay, so it will give you a pay line salary. Now, I want you to do what? I want you to, first of all, then put them into grades, just 3 grades, okay, or 2 grades. I'll leave it to you. You'll be in groups. Second, I want the manager to be at a 90th percentile. Okay. So I want you to build what? Salary ranges for all these positions. Okay. For the grades and for the manager, I want you to build at a 90th percentile. Are you with me? Okay. Any questions? Because when you come back, you will have to do this. You are designing a salary structure. That means you already got the internal equity done. You have the market data. You have to do the regression analysis, then group them into grades, and then build what salary ranges for each of them. And only for one, for the manager, I want you to then take him to a lead policy, which is that means 90th percentile, and do what? Do the salary, you have to do the min and max salary range for that. Got it? Okay. Your final product, how should it be? You can just take a picture of this if you need be. Okay. So that you get when you go back, you can actually do it for your organization or check how it is. So there are positions here which I have given you, right? Now, after doing the regression, the pay line, you have to build salary ranges, min, midpoint, and maximum. Your midpoint will be already given by the pay line is your midpoint. Now, typically, or I told you at a lower level, the spread can be about 10% to 20%. But as you go high, so since there are positions, only the manager is the highest, you can have a spread of 50 to 60%. So you should also mention the spread. Now, what is very, very important here is, when you are building this structure here, yeah. See, now there will be an overlap, right? For example, the overlap is, let me just show you. Now, for every grade you are creating, min, max. Now, what amount of overlap do you want to have? That is, your higher grade, do you want it to start from where the lower grade has finished and then you will start that grade? Or would you like to have a small overlap, which is called the midpoint differential? Now, it depends on, as a group, I want you to talk about it, saying, because, say, for example, from a lower level employee, I want to give him a higher salary. But your overlap is such that it begins where the maximum of the previous one, then I need to forcibly push him to a higher grade, right? I cannot continue to keep him in the lower grade. So to what extent you want to give that overlap, it depends on you. So I want you to discuss. As I said, the overlap could be from midpoint to midpoint, or the overlap could be a little less than the midpoint. And this is a company which is an IT company. So look at them, analyze them, and I'll just show you that picture. I want you to create a salary structure like this. Okay. The positions with grades, salary ranges, and what spread are you giving? All right. You already have the pay line, which is called the midpoint. Then develop salary ranges. Do you really want to have an overlap, or do you don't want to have an overlap? Depends on the group, how they want to discuss and what they want to do. The manager should be paid 30% more than the midpoint salary. All right. Now, how will you create a salary range for that? I want to see. Not 90. You can keep it as 30%. Done? Any clarifications before you get into the group?
Sorry, you mentioned manager should be paid how much?
Pardon?
Manager should be paid 30% higher than?
30% higher than the midpoint. That means you want to lead.
Okay.
Got it? So you need to build a salary range. How will you do that? Okay.
Okay, so first we found the intercept
Right.
from the given data.
Yeah.
which
So you
is
are doing regression
salary.
first
Yeah,
to find out the pay line salary. Okay. Now, what is your regression measure?
regression measure is 1, R square is 1.
1. That means it is 100%. No
Yeah.
variance at all. Right?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So it will remain the same data. Okay.
Right.
Now we have to create a structure.
Yeah.
We have to design a pay structure for this position: junior analyst, senior analyst, lead analyst. Okay.
Right. So we decided to have 3 grades: junior analyst and analyst. We clubbed them as grade 1, analyst, senior analyst as grade 2, and lead analyst also grade 2.
1 second. 1 second. So can you scroll down so that I can see the job points?
Yeah, this is the last line.
No. No, I want to see. I'm so sorry. I want to see the job points. Job
Yeah.
points.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you said just going by the title, junior analyst, 1 grade, and
Yeah.
even analyst, 1 grade, senior analyst, 2, lead analyst also 2, and maybe the other one. But typically, what is that? If you have to follow a criteria, look at your lowest points 20, no?
Mm-hmm.
And your highest points
1,000.
1,000. Okay. So maybe today mm, you don't have all the positions for which I'm just, hypothetically, that you have not done job evaluation. So you can say from 200, see, if you see 200 and 400, then 600, 800 and 1000. So you're saying, hey, a cutoff of 200 to 400 will be one grade. No?
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Where junior analyst and analyst also will fall into it. Got it?
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Now, before you firm up, you also have to look at analyst. Where does he come in the organizational structure?
Mm.
What is the job description responsibility? Does it look almost similar to junior analyst, or does it have supervisory or whatever responsibilities? Okay. But typically, all of us going by, what the analyst JD would be. So we'll say they'll be similar. So 200 to 400 points, we have bundled those two positions into grade one. Got it?
Yeah.
Now 400 to 600.
Mm.
So 400 to 600, or you want it to be 700, that is 300 points. As you keep growing
Mm.
higher and higher to higher grades, you will see that the spread also goes up. That
Mm.
therefore your staying period, that is the tenuity, because the job gets complex. Now I also have to look at, hey, is the job of a lead analyst much more complex? Getting me? Huh? So maybe I will say 400 to 700 points one grade,
Mm.
where only senior analysts will fall into that. So grade two. Then 700 to say maybe about 900 points, another grade, where maybe a lead analyst. There could be some other positions with the different points, but they are not there right now. I've not
Mm.
evaluated them because I have to keep room for, you know, today the organization is a startup. So I
Mm.
only have 5 positions. Maybe
Mm.
tomorrow there'll be more positions coming in.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
So I'm just helping you to think.
Yeah.
Okay, and not just go by the present. Okay, I have these points and that's it. So I'm going. So look at your min and max and make your cutoffs. And especially at the cutoffs, look at, are they in a supervisory? Are they in a similar? So you're doing a cluster analysis mechanically. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with it. 1 1 2 2, and you put the manager in the three. All right,
Mm.
fine. So there are 3 grades. Now you have done midpoint. So min and max of 15% spread, 15% spread, 20%, 25%, and
35%.
35%. Yeah, good, good, absolutely. The Now let me look at. So I will help you with the midpoint differential. Taking that whatever I have in my PowerPoint, I'll help you with that. Okay. Let me just show you that and then help you. When you see a visual diagram, you'll be able to understand what is the significance of the midpoint differential. Okay. Yeah. Can I go to the other group? Thank you, Sagar, and that was wonderful. The group really did good job. Any challenges? Yeah. Did you have any challenges? If you have to go back and look at your own structure, would you be in a position to do so?
So even, you know, generally speaking, so this clustering which we do, like we discussed, 400 to 700, let's say club them as group grade 1 or grade 2, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
designations which are given, that is aligned to the grade only. So for example, I could very well, as you
Yes.
know, go for, let's say, 5 grades here, rather than, you know, clubbing junior analyst and analyst together. I can
Right.
might as well decide to have 5 grades, so that there
I will
is
definitely go with your thinking, but I'm also giving you that option that sometimes what happens, just merely going by titles, because a lot of organization will do grading on the basis of titles, because even their job descriptions are very much aligned with it, right?
yeah.
Because you can't have a title and the job not aligned to it, job description. That's where is some of the
Yeah.
controversies. Okay. So therefore, as a comp expert, we always say get into the job description. That is the detail. Because the job title doesn't really tell you much about the job he's doing. the complexity, the responsibility, the nature of the job as such. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Can I have the other group?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, is
So
it
intercept market, bill and salary, min. Okay. Spread of 11%, 22, 22%. Okay. 35%. All right. Okay. Good. Any
ma'am,
questions?
you mentioned about plotting the min
Yeah.
max. I
So
was
the plotting, I'm going to help
the
you with that in the
waterfall
next.
thing.
Yeah. So I'll help you with that. One can do it very well. I'll help you with this in the next session. Okay.
Now there is one
So
doubt. Is Usman
yeah.
our J column में there is red amount is there na? 12 lakh
Which
88.
one?
12
What
lakh
is
8.
this?
That we
Ma-
made using
Okay, you
formula.
all made it as 90th percentile. Very
So that
hypothetical
that is
kind of a
correct.
thing. Yeah.
That is correct way to find out percentile.
So what we did was in this
50th percentile, you know. So
Hmm.
you
And
extrapolation to 90th percentile.
that is correct, na?
Yeah, you can do that
Way
way.
of calculation.
Extrapolate it to 90th percentile. Absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, guys. You will get a very interesting assignment to create a structure. But if you have difficulties, please reach out to me. But I want each one of you to do that. It is designing of a pay structure, a little more complex and intricate. Okay. All right. Well done. And let me just, before I move on to some of the compensation metrics, let me just show you. Okay. When we're talking about a structure, all of you know that this is market data because you have done regression. And all of you know this also. This could be grades where we did job grading, if you recall. In grade 1, there are positions, grade 2 positions, grade 3. Or if you were to take job points, they also can be translated into grades. So this is clear, these two axes. Now, you also know that this is your pay line. This one, this middle one. Okay, this is your pay line. Pay line means what? Median or market median or 50th percentile. Okay. Now, if you, like, for example, in your data, all of them were on this pay line. That means what? It was 100%. R square was 1. But here, what can you see? The job points are here, there, right? What does it convey? When you see a picture like this, what does it convey? The more these job points are closer to this market pay line, that means you have a higher
correlation with the market.
correlation, and also so your R square will be much higher. If you actually have this spread out far away, that means your data, that means your market data is not so much dependent on your point blank. You yourself can keep changing the data and see. So more that fitter, tighter it is towards the pay line, the better. So that reflects in your R square, which is, it could be 45%, 50%, 60%. So if the R square is 0.60, you will see that your job points will be far away from the pay line. That's not a very good data. At least it should be 0.85 or 0.9. That means your market data has just about 10% or 15% variation. Okay. And those other variables could be on other, it could be supply, demand, etc., etc. You can't take a market data which has a regression of, say, 0.6 or 0.7. Now, having said that, all of you created what I call it as what? Salary ranges. Like, for example, in grade 1, this is your min, this is your max. If you recall, you created that. Min, max. Min, max. And you have a midpoint for everything. Now, having said that you have a midpoint, look at the overlap. What is the overlap? That means this grade is starting where? This grade is starting from almost from the
Midpoint.
midpoint. Grade 2 is starting from the midpoint. Okay. and it has what? A spread much larger, if you can see. It's not equal also. It's spread larger. Now, if you again see this, it's again midpoint, but the spread is again a bit lesser. So, depending on your own organization, you can have an overlap, which maybe typically a thumb rule is that overlaps will be lesser here and overlaps will be larger when you keep growing higher and higher. Why do you think so? Because again, why? Because the nature of jobs are very complex, higher responsibility, etc. So the stay period has to be longer there. So if I have an overlap which is larger, what does it mean? I can promote a person, increase the salary till here. But what happens if my new grade is starting from, without any overlap? What will happen? Can you explain to me what will happen then? If my new grade, higher grade does not have an overlap, then if I want to promote Ramachandran, not promote, give him higher salary because he's a very good performer, what will happen? I'll have to promote him, which means my cost will be what? My wage cost will be
Higher.
increasing.
Increased. Yeah.
Higher.
Increasing.
Higher.
Okay. So higher you go, the overlap also will be a little higher because your staying period has to be little longer. Okay. Now with this, we end the pay structure and we will come to some metrics called, yeah. So what's a comp ratio? Anybody who's heard of a comp ratio? Yeah. What is a comp ratio? Anybody who's heard of a comp ratio?
Yeah, ma'am. It is the employee's current salary or
What is
actual
it?
salary divided by the median for that particular job
Very
role or the
simple.
job.
Very simple. Comp ratio is very simple. It is a ratio. It is a ratio. Okay. Say, for example, I have a salary range of 8. Mhm. Yeah. Okay. This is my minimum and this is my, oh, sorry. Yeah. This is my max. What will be my midpoint? What will be the midpoint?
10,000.
10,000.
Correct. Okay. So can I put here also 9,000? And here also 11,000. Okay. So the salary range is 8,000 to 12,000, min and max. So what do you think will be the spread? How much will be the spread?
20%?
Huh?
20%?
Anybody? Quick, calculate. Tell me, I will do it. Huh?
Spread from midpoint, no?
No.
50%.
I'm talking about the entire
50%.
spread from min to max.
50% is the spread value.
40.
Absolutely. How?
30,
Huh?
12 minus
50% from the lowest.
12,000 minus 8,000
Absolutely.
divided.
12,000 minus 8,000
Divided by 8.
divided by how much? 8,000.
8,000.
And you can make a percentage out of it. Okay. Max minus min by min. Now, if this is the salary range and I have a salary of 9,000 rupees, my base salary is how much? 9,000. So when I'm talking about a comp ratio, comp ratio is how much? COMP comp ratio. What? 9,000
9,000 divided by
10
divided by the midpoint.
midpoint.
Okay? Equal, sorry. Yeah. Equal to how much? 0.9,
9
0.9.
or it can also be 90 if I have a
90%.
percentage, 90%. So essentially, what does it mean? You're always taking either the salary midpoint or the market midpoint and comparing the salary of an individual. Now, how does it help when you're comparing? How does it help? So there is a logic behind it. What you're trying to say is anybody who is less than midpoint, that means he's not really there and you are paying a salary, it could be 80%. 80% comp ratio means less than the, you're still falling behind the midpoint. But if you're saying I'm paying 110%, okay, comp ratio, what does it mean? You're paying more than the midpoint. So it gives you an indication of what? That means who are those employees who are actually getting salary higher than the midpoint and who are those employees who are getting lesser than the midpoint. Okay, that's one. Let us go back. So you know the formula for a comp ratio, saying that comp ratio gives you the advantage of, where is my screen? Mhm. Helps you with the understanding of that who are the people who are getting more than the midpoint and who are the people who are getting less than the midpoint. So when I calculate the comp ratio, especially during the annual increment, I get an understanding of if two people are working in the same role. A's comp ratio was 90% and B's comp ratio was 110%, and both of them have got the same rating for performance, then what is that I get to know about it? Is there inequity? Is there inequity?
Yes, ma'am.
Why? Two people are working in the same role. Okay, two people have got the same performance rating, but yet one is getting much lesser than the midpoint and one is getting more than the midpoint. So what will you do as an HR manager?
We'll
Just
give
increase
the person getting lower
person.
than point to.
What decision making will you do during the annual increment?
We'll try
Lesser
and give
increase to person B.
You will try to give
We'll put wage correction, salary
percentage of
corrections.
increment to this person who's below the midpoint and lesser percentage of increment to the person who's at a higher comp ratio. Are you with me?
Right.
So typically during the annual increment, everybody takes, they do this comp ratio calculation. Why do you think they do the comp ratio? When you have to give an annual increment, you don't want to have what I call it as salary compression. Have you heard of salary compression? This term salary compression means two people working in the same role getting the same performance rating. But one is having a lesser salary and the other is having a higher salary. This is called salary compression. Two, with the help of a comp ratio, you can also fix your recruitment policy in terms of what I will not recruit anybody at more than 90% of the comp ratio. What does it mean? I will not give a higher salary. It will be 90 so that I can keep the wage cost low. Okay. And comp ratios also can be calculated at an individual level, at a team level, at a location level, and also at an organization level. The formula, the formula, individual salary by the midpoint. Okay. Now, you can also calculate what? Average comp ratio and also group comp ratio. So when I calculate the average comp ratio, what does it indicate? This is 0.97. What is it indicating to me? When the average comp ratio of these three people is 0.97, what does it indicate to me?
So all three of them are like
Are well paid.
the average of all three is still less than the midpoint.
Still less than the midpoint. So
Yeah.
therefore, your wage cost is not very high.
Correct.
That means anything which reflects higher than one is, then you will know exactly, hey, I need to do something about it. Are you with me? So typically what happens, you will not promote a person, huh? At a particular, so you will have a promotion policy, you will have a recruitment policy. Say, for example, recruitment policy, 80% comp ratio, I'm not, or 90%. Then promotion policy, anybody who is at a 120 comp ratio, only that person will be promoted. Nobody less than that. Okay. So I can actually develop certain policies. Like, for example, can you tell me if these are the comp ratios. So who needs to be, whose if whose salary is needs certain recommendations of increasing salary, and whose salary is already there and doesn't need any kind of an increase.
Eliza needs increase.
Salary
Eliza.
point.
James too. James and
Yeah,
Eliza.
so anybody who is less than one, say especially 0.898, 0.889, right? They are much below. But a person, Oliver is in the highest, 1.038. He is already, beyond the midpoint. During recruitment, I will typically say 80% because a new person who's still on the learning curve, I will place him here. But if he's experienced, 100%. But definitely, I will not have anybody being recruited beyond the midpoint. Tell me why. And let me tell you, recruitment team, typically, if you don't have that rigor and discipline in recruitment, they will say, oh, ma'am, he's not coming for less than salary. I have to give him more. Comp ratio of 110, 120. But what if I'm going to bring a person at 120? What will happen? You tell me. A, I'm giving him high wage cost. B, he will reach his maximum in a year or two. Then what will happen? I bring the best of the kind. Then I cannot promote him because he cannot be promoted as per the promotion policy. Now, what will you do? Can you give him an increase in increment? No. So, what happens? You bring a bright guy and you demotivate him because you are not giving him increment. So you definitely need to have your recruitment policy and your promotion policy aligned to your comp ratios. Here, whose comp ratio is the highest? Which department's comp ratio is the highest?
Executive PA.
Executives, right? And whose is the least?
Payments.
Payroll guys, payment guys. Huh?
Payment.
So with comp ratios, you know exactly, because wage cost metric is a very, very important metric which we will be doing tomorrow. Employee cost to revenue. So the CEO will only ask you, hey, what is my what is it? ECR ratio, employee cost to revenue ratio. Because if that is not as per the market benchmarked other companies, then what does it happen? That means you are increasing your wage cost and your profits are going down. So that's why it's very, very important to calculate every function's comp ratio. Organizations calculate that. Okay. See, you can do the comp ratio, calculate for every function. How will you do it for a function if you're doing it? Take the entire salary, right? Look at the midpoint, calculate them, then do the average. Okay.
And this figure is external compa ratio, right? Not internal compa ratio.
You can do both. You can do external, which is called the market comp ratio. So when you do the market comp ratio, how will you do? You will take, say, Sanjay is at a particular, his base salary is something. Now, you will now compare it with this market data, which is actually a midpoint data.
But
So you
ma'am,
can have a market, pardon?
in a team, if you do for any particular team, so the midpoint may vary, considering their grade.
So in a team, you will look at all the names, you look at their
Their
midpoints,
respective
you will look
midpoints
at
in the
their
grade.
base salaries, you will add up everything, you will take the average and then do it. Got it? Okay. Yeah. Typically, what this is this performance rating relationship with the comp ratio. You know what this is? Anybody who knows what this is and who wants to take a go at explaining it? Let me see.
Uh, Maybe, ma'am, your people who
Huh?
are uh,
Yeah.
higher performance rating, that is outstanding, will get a and that compa ratio
Yeah.
less than 0.94 will get higher
Yeah.
increment. Whereas here, since the person, while he is still outstanding performer, but has
Yeah.
already hit the maximum in the pay range in the compa ratio, so here he will get very less
Almost
or
closer.
more increase.
Okay. Almost closer. So let me explain to you a little in detail. So this is your performance rating scale. This one. No? Unacceptable, improvement expected, successful, exceeding expectations, outstanding. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a rating scale of 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 you can have, or you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Done? Very clear? Now,
Yeah.
what is this? Your pay range. Minimum, maximum. Okay. Now, how does this apply? So there are two employees with a rating of what? Outstanding. They have the same rating. What? 4. Or if you want, you can make it as 5. If this is 1. Okay? This is 5. So two employees, say for example, Shweta and Neha, they have 5. But Shweta is where? Here. More than or equal to with a comp ratio of 1.06. But Neha is here. Only 0.94 less than. This is a comp ratio. So what will happen then? I will make a matrix in such a way that she gets a higher percentage of merit increase and she gets a lower percentage of merit increase. Are you with me? So typically, if you notice the HR department, you may wonder that in the business they'll say, hey, but I got the same rating. But how is that you got more increment and I got less increment? It is because that you are taking into consideration the comp ratios and adjusting the merit increases. Okay. Because if you don't adjust the merit increases, what happens? The guy with the maximum pay range will higher comp will keep on increasing. He'll get a higher. If you give the same equal amount of merit increase, and this person with the minimum, just because there was no market correction which has happened whenever the person was recruited, so tends to get a lesser increment, and her comp ratio will also be lesser. Okay, Preeti, anybody who have any kind of doubts on this? Okay, it's the same thing, but here we have also shown how a person with the lesser comp ratio will get higher percentage of increment, and a higher comp will get lesser increase. That is lesser merit raise. Say a person is getting 4, two people are getting 4, but one person is here and the other person is here. So this person gets 20% and this person gets 5%. Right? Understandable. Okay. Okay.
Ma'am,
Uh,
it
It's the same.
usually
Yeah.
ranges
Yeah.
Nirvana,
between.
I
Somebody
have
says
a
some.
question.
Hmm.
This is Shweta Nirvana.
Yeah, Shweta.
I just need couple of answers as in, when you do this kind of exercise and it's prevalent as part of comp and ben, at
Hmm.
times it is also difficult to make the senior leaders understand that why their high performers, are getting less increments. They don't understand the philosophy that they are at a higher, comp band. So their increment, even if they are higher performer, that's relatively less than the other person.
No,
So I
responding
mean,
to your question, Shweta, typically, whenever your performance management cycle has been done and you have to give increments. Just before the increase of increments, annual increments, every HR department, the comp department, or the HR operation departments, okay, I used to supervise for 30,000, used to do that. You will calculate business by business the comp ratios. Okay. Typically, at a lower level, there won't be much inequity, but you will calculate the comp ratio for the reason that many a times, if you have followed meticulously, if you have had a structure right from the startup, then it's fine. But you will realize that most of the startups, mom and pop shops, or even the best of the breed kind of organizations will not have a pay structure in the beginning. Then after 5 years or 6 years, when they've scaled up, they will you know you will find that market corrections have not been made. You will find that actually there are a lot of inequities in terms of you have recruited a marketing manager 2 years ago at X amount of salary, but because the market has heated up, without making market correction for the same job, you will bring a person at a much higher salary. You getting me? So that means what? Two people doing the same job, but with different salaries. So do you think it is inequity then? Today you may not know when you come on board, but after some time you will know that, hey, he is also doing the same job. But you will give that, for experience, you will give, like, because of that range, but you will not have so much of disparity
Yeah,
unless and
fair
until
point.
market corrections are made. So therefore the necessity of creating what calculating comp ratios, and essentially we will create Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, and start analyzing your data and then working out on the increments. Okay.
Sure, thanks.
But as you said, Shweta, you have to also explain to the business leaders, because most often they do not understand what's happening in the HR department, especially during annual increment. Why? I'll tell you my personal experience. Every time the business leader gave the same rating, and they would say, "I don't know what happened in the HR department." You see, like I did my bit. I sent those ratings. Sometimes maybe I had to fit them into the normalization curve, so therefore you had to bring down somebody, force fit, or then again, you know about it, right? When you're doing annual increment, you also have to do the normalization. Just because a business head will do what? He will give everybody. If I give everybody 5 and 4, what will happen then? I'm sure you need to take into consideration that they will be, based on the performance, right?
Yeah.
So at such times, it's very, very important for the HR department, especially the HRBP, to make them understand how is this working, making it, transparent, open. Because the moment something is like in a black box, how did I get this increment? I don't know. Make it open. Tell them. Explain the process, how it is,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Because they would actually come and grow me, saying, "Ma'am, we want to know how did we get less."
So we now have started publishing such matrices as well, especially to the core SMT team. That
You
this
may
is
not
what it is.
actually detail everything for a person, but the policies, how does it
Yeah.
work? Those things have to be published, right? In fact,
Yeah.
we publish even all grade one, grade two, grade three. These are the kinds. This is what it is.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
The more you are open and transparent, the more there will be equity. People will start understanding, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, hey, guys, let me. You have an exercise now, please. Uh, yeah. This last slide, and then I want you to do that thing. There are two things we call them very important: the green circle rule and the red circle rule. Okay, very important. Again, it pertains to what? It pertains to the salary range. Okay, now consider this as a salary range, any salary range. Okay, minimum. It could be, say again, I'll just for quick understanding, 8,000 and 12,000. Minimum, maximum. Okay. Now, I recruit a person at L1. This is L1. Just because that person is not working currently, I take the advantage and recruit him much lesser than 8,000. Do we do that? HR people, yes, in some mom pop, it doesn't mean that will say, okay, he's actually not even working at the no. I will give him. That is called green circle. As per the green circle, if you find that the person is fit and he can be selected for that particular role, start him at the minimum range, if not higher. Minimum range. Okay? But definitely nothing lesser than the minimum range. What happens if you pay him at a lesser than the minimum range? That's where the entire thing, he will come, he'll be so demotivated because the minimum starts from 8,000 and you are giving him much lesser than that. So that's a total no-no. The worst thing is here, the red circle. What is red circle? The person has reached 12,000. Now, where will he go? Will you give him an increment? If you give him an increment, that means you are increasing, you have created a structure and you are now tampering with that structure, which we do normally. I've noticed. Okay, increase kar do. What does it mean that you cannot add his, so you can give him a performance bonus which is equivalent, but not add that into his base salary. Because if you add that into his base salary, next, what happens? You are actually increasing the maximum, the salary range. So this is called the red circle. So typically people who are in red circle, what happens? They don't get increments. They can be there for a year or two. Then what happens? You either shift them into another role, IJPs, or typically 1-2 years, get them trained and then promote them. So there are various ways of how to deal with people who are stuck at red circle. Okay?
Ma'am,
All
this
right, guys.
green and red circle is only prevalent in comp, as in only compensation, or it's also related to JE, wherein the person reaches a
J job
saturation.
evaluation.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Huh.
so if a person is reached the stagnating point, so it's not only related to comp, right? It can be related to his role as well. Is there anything
Role what?
any a particular role in a
No.
particular grade?
The green circle and the red circle is actually related to the salary range. Like if your Preeti is hired, okay, at a particular salary grade, every grade has a salary range. She has to be recruited depending on her fitment, maybe at a minimum or maybe at a little higher. Or I will bring her to midpoint. Based on that comp ratio, I won't go beyond that. But I cannot give you less than the minimum. I cannot pay you less than the minimum of that particular grade. Are you with me? Okay. Now, I have been here for some reason, I've reached the maximum. Now, I cannot give you an increment which adds up to your base salary. I can give you an equal percentage which is equivalent to that increment as a performance bonus. But that cannot be added to the increment. Increment means next year your base salary goes up, right?
Yeah. So
That means I'm increasing the maximum, the salary range of that maximum. So what do? If you are there for 3-4 years, you'll get frustrated. So typically, why does that happen? Because when I bring people at this beyond the midpoint, then in 2-3 years, they will reach the maximum. They're the best of the breed. Because the business says he's the best plug and play. I'll bring him here, 120, then he'll come off here. Then after 2 years, what? I can't promote him because there are other people. So he gets demotivated. I start giving him only performance bonus. So do not ever, tamper with your salary ranges. Unless and until, it's very, very critical and you have to bring him. So typically, as a rule, do not hire anybody beyond the midpoint.
So generally, ma'am, again, what I have also seen is that while a particular grade vacancy is for a particular grade, and you're not attracting talent for that particular grade, but by due to some reason, you get more or less closer to that role, so you take him on a grade lower, and you give him the him or her the potential to a time to move up to that particular grade. So in that case, since the person was hired at a lower grade, is he treated as a green circle? Because the ideal position was at a particular
No, but in that grade, you're not giving him minimum, right? Maybe you are giving him, he's already there. So midpoint means that person is fully qualified, is able to really. So maybe midpoint or little more than that, because you are saying, hey, he's a talent, which I need to promote him at a later point of time. Right? So you're bringing him closer, and then he, so need not be at a 120 and 130. You might say, hey, I need to promote him. Green circle is typically hiring people lower than the minimum for that particular range, which is a total no-no. Because sometimes, so you're not sticking by, you have to be there, minimum. You have to give that minimum. Sorry. Okay. A quick one, guys, only 5 minutes. So I know I'm taking a little more time, but can you go back to your exercise? There is a comp ratio exercise. You have this. It'll just take 5 minutes max or 10. Take very less step. Calculate the comp ratio, right? And what you need to do is then make recommendations. Okay. You need to interpret the results quickly. Comp ratio. So you have job roles, you have employee name, you have the salary range, min, mid, max, and you have the guy's current salary. So you know which point to take, right? So in a comp ratio, you typically take what? Current salary divided by the midpoint multiplied by 100. Got it? Can I stop sharing and one of you can show that?
Yeah.
So who is the highest? You can say the highest and the lowest typically.
So of course, Gina Patel, Frank Wilson,
Yeah.
Kathy Lee.
That is finance analyst, right?
Right.
Then this guy, project manager.
Yeah.
Then 105. Is it HR IT analyst? No. HR specialist. HR
Yes.
specialist. No? Okay. Who is the least at the least comp ratio?
Least
90.
I think they all are
90.
fairly placed. None of them
Yeah,
is
almost
so
90,
least among them is
94.
this admin specialist.
Yeah,
I
data scientist, admin assistant, marketing manager. So what is your recommendation? Can you tell me?
So
Anybody? Open forum. What is your recommendation?
So Irene and Alice needs to be given proportionately higher percentage of increment versus, let's say, someone like Kathy or Gina Patel, who is already at more than 100%.
So just looking at this data, maybe recommendation could be like a marketing manager who is at a very low comp ratio could be given a higher salary. Okay. And who else? Let me just look at it. Admin assistant, not necessary. Okay. IT, is that IT analyst? IT analyst was already sitting at 105%. Probably here you can look at his comp ratio, 105%, and maybe his increment could be reduced a little. No? So the purpose is what? Looking at your comp ratios and trying to see the wage cost, because they reflect the wage cost. So it's very, very important to keep your wage costs low, because higher the wage cost, lower the profit margins. Lower the wage cost, higher the profit margins. Will you agree with me? Yeah.
correct.
Okay, guys. So I think well done. Good work by most of you. You can stop sharing.
Yeah.
What are the quick learnings? What did we learn today? Quick, anybody? Preeti, what are the takeaways?
Um, for me, largely it was in terms of the JE, the differentiation between JE and how to make a grade structure. That was standing out for me. While we did learn about compa ratio, how to do salary progressions, uh, looking at the internal equity and the market bench.
Market data. Okay. One more person who wants to share. Sagar, you want to share? What's been your takeaway?
Yeah, I think job clustering on how to use your discretion in terms of arriving at what are those similar jobs which you can club together
Right,
and
right,
maybe
right.
have them under one grade. So that discretion is, I think, you learn by experience early. So yeah,
Yeah,
that
that
is.
discretion will come only when you keep reading,
Hmm.
reading the job descriptions in much more, all the details. You just can't go by the title. So the more you get a hang on these descriptions, then you can clearly discern, saying that, hey, this job has to be in a lower grade. This job, you see, there is more complexity. There is supervise. The job is responsibilities of supervisory nature, more accountability, etc. Okay, that's how you learn things. Yeah. So good. Tomorrow we'll be doing the individual equity that is called, all about variable designing an incentive plan. And also today we had to cover aging of the market data. So which we will be doing it in the first, the first thing in the morning, and then we will cover the rest of it. Okay, guys.